Hello, everybody. Welcome to Drop In and Draw. Today we are going to be drawing mythical creatures. Think probably some unicorns, maybe a griffin or two. Sorry, I'm just organizing all of my stuff on here and we'll get a screen share. I'm drawing on my iPad, but you can draw on anything as long as you have permission to draw on it. We're going to get started. Get my pencil out here. Remember, like I've said in previous ones, we're going to hold our pencil out a little bit. We've got to warm up our hand. Haven't done any drawing yet today, so we definitely got to warm up our hand. I'm going to draw some nice big circles. Now let's change our color. I like red. Nice big circles, getting my elbow going. Oh. There we go. Get some nice big circles going, some swirlies. Just really opening it up, getting comfortable. Just clear that out. Draw some nice lines. All right, nice and warmed up. So we talked about, we drew some jackalopes last week. I think this week we're gonna do something fun and draw a couple of my favorite things to draw, which are unicorns and then maybe some griffins. Unicorns are fun because I like drawing horses. It's one of the first things I learned to draw as a kid was horses because I liked drawing them. So let's start with drawing them. I've drawn them enough times that I know how to draw them without using a reference. But if you've never drawn a horse, you might want to go ahead and Google a picture of a horse. But horses' bodies are basically constructed like this. We've got, if we're doing a side view, which is profile view, we got a circle. Let's pick a different pencil. There we go. We got a circle for our head. I'm going to draw a nice fat unicorn. Then we've got another kind of nice circle, teardrop, maybe a teardrop shape for its shoulder. And then a nice circle for its rump. And then he's got legs. And we're gonna kind of make this cute, so we're not gonna give him really formed legs. Got legs, legs. It's got kind of a triangle, a rounded triangle for its nose. Can't forget its horn. All right. So now we're going to add our lines. Horses' backs go like this a little bit. Horses' bodies, when you're kind of stylizing them and making them cute, are kind of a bean shape. So it's sort of like this. Their actual bodies are still kind of a bean shape. But we're going to make him really rounded, make it really rounded so that he's really kind of cute. And then I'm going to do chibi style, so we're not going to really worry about putting in those extra joints. We'll do one here that's in a minute that's normal style, but we're just going to do triangles for his legs. Nice fat legs. Same thing here. Nice fat legs. think I'm getting a little out there. Let's draw ground lines so that our legs actually match up. I'm gonna make that leg overlap, go under, then we'll erase things when we need it. There we go. Whenever I'm drawing something and I'm trying to figure out where to position it, I think about its bone structure underneath. So even cute, adorable unicorns still have bones. Otherwise, they would be petals of unicorn. So bone structure for the horse just kind of goes down like that from the same spot, because this is its shoulders. From the same spot would go the other foot. Same thing here, this is its hips. So right here, and then this is the other foot. So that's how I know to tuck one leg in under it instead of drawing the legs like this. I'm gonna tuck one leg under the other one. So like that. And then we'll erase the bits we don't need. All right, so let's give it a tail. So horse's tailbones, this is its spine. So the spine is kind of like that, and then it has a tailbone. And horses actually have tails, have bone into part of their tail. So right here, that's actually still part of its spinal bone. That's its tailbone. And it kind of goes into right about here, and then all of the hair comes off of it. So give it some little volume, put it up just a tiny bit. There we go. And let's see, needs an ear and another ear. Mane. It's got hair that's coming out like that. All right. Horse's nose goes out like this. That. They have a big old jawbone that sort of goes like that. And then they've got eyes that kind of go like that. Let's round it up a little bit. If you ever want to make something cute, give it nice rounded lines. Because babies have rounded lines and we like things that are cute and round. So that's why we automatically, I think it's eyes in the wrong place. So why we automatically like things that are cute is because it reminds us of babies. Things that are adorable. All right. There we go. So on mine, because I'm using digital and I'm using Procreate, I can lower the opacity of my drawing to ink it. Let's get some black going here. On yours, you might need tracing paper, or if you drew really lightly with a pencil, you can ink over it and then erase your pencil lines. Well, let's get our unicorn inked. Nope, wrong layer. If you do something, if you make a mistake, and you're doing it on traditional work, that's okay. If you've got some white out, get some white out, redo it. If not, just work with it. Work over it. If you're doing it digitally, you can always undo it. There's nothing wrong with that. Even the most experienced professional makes a mistake now and again. That's not what I want to do. Remember, I put some hair in front of it. One of the best ways to show some depth and to make it look more three-dimensional is to have things go over other things. So that's what I'm doing here by putting the hair, some of the hair in front of the horn. This makes it look a little less flat. Take your time. Think about the lines that you're drawing. How you want them to look. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. You can always do it again. It's really good practice when we make mistakes and then do the drawing again. Some of the best things that I've learned is by doing something over and over to try and fix them. Drawing is just like anything else you do. It takes a lot of practice. It's just like dance, playing sport. Takes some mental thought. Takes some practice to get your hands to do the things that you want them to do. Takes some study so you can learn technique. You don't instantly get everything right the first time you do it. And even sometimes when you do something and you think you have it mastered, sometimes you have a bad day and you don't get it right. Draw a little line here for its hooves. Let's get its other back leg. Let's draw this back leg. Like that. And if you're watching this on Facebook and you want to pop into Zoom, you can pop in and ask questions, suggest something else that you might want to see drawn. Maybe you want to see another mythical creature drawn, like a hippocampus or something like that. Pop into Zoom and we'll look at it, figure out how to draw things. All right, so we turn off this layer. There we go. Now we have a unicorn. So we started with drawing our basic shapes and then adding to that, drawing some lines, and then we inked over it. All right. I think I said, well, you know what? Let's do some other poses with our unicorn. So Take our unicorn. I'm going to make a pose sheet today. Erase some bits. So there's our profile of our unicorn. But what if we want to show our unicorn moving? Did you know that when horses run, all of their feet leave the ground? So when they're running, all of their feet, in horses have when they're running, it's called a gait, and there's different positions. That's gait, G-A-I-T, not the kind of gait in a fence, but they have a gait that they're running, and it's a 5-beat gait. So on one of the beats, all of their feet leave the ground. And they discovered this. A man named Edward Muybridge, who I'm a big fan of, discovered this in the early 1900s with the use of a camera. So he thought, they thought for the longest time that horses' feet left the ground at some point, but nobody could document it. And so Edward Muybridge set up cameras that would take pictures as a horse ran by the camera, and that's how he documented with it then was about 50-year-old technology, documented how a horse runs. It's very interesting. If you ever want to look at images of Edward Muybridge, be a little careful because some of his images do have nudity in them. So maybe look at them with an adult, but they're a standard when you're looking at, if you're wanting to learn animation. Muybridge's animal studies are really wonderful for learning things. So I'm not going to show the image of Muybridge, but let's make our unicorn small. And let's draw our unicorn running. Here we go. We'll get rid of our drawing, our sketch layer. See if I can go find a Muybridge study that is appropriate to show on Zoom. So here we are. Here is Muybridge's study of a horse running. You can see here, there we go, completely leaves the ground right there. And nobody knew that, nobody had proof that this actually happened until Muybridge took his photos and examined every aspect of a horse running. So there. It's a little bit of science. It's nice when science and art can mix together to learn interesting things. All right, let's stop sharing this. Go back to sharing our drawing. All right, let's figure out how to draw our unicorn running. So we're gonna start with the same things. Let's get ourselves a new layer going. Pencil, and then red. I like drawing in red just because it differentiates between the inked drawing and my sketch layer. If you're doing things digitally, I recommend picking separate colors between your inked layer and your sketch layer so you can tell them apart. All right, so we're gonna draw our unicorn flat out running. So got a little, his head, and his head's gonna be slightly lower than it is in this one. And then the teardrop shape is kind of goes this way because his foot is thrown way out. So it's gonna go like that. His other foot, his other front leg is gonna go like that. And then His back is not so much bean-shaped at this point. It's kind of stretched way out because he's way out running. And we got one foot kind of out like this, and then the other foot is down like this. So let's see what we can do with that. All right. So we got, so we don't quite have our bean shape. We can get really close. It's kind of elongated bean at this point. If you're interested in animation at all, this is sort of the principle of stretch. So when we move, we stretch out or we squash down. One of the main principles of animation is squash and stretch. So that's kind of what I'm doing, is drawing this horse in, this unicorn in stretch. So let's see. Nice fat unicorn leg. Let's extend his head out just a little bit more. There we go. You can see I'm just drawing right over the sketch I started. The sketchy layer is just for you to find the shape. So it's okay if you draw over it. Don't worry so much about erasing things. There we go. Actually, I don't really like that. Let's bring it down just a little bit more. I'm gonna erase that part though. Sometimes you do erase things. Sometimes when you do kind of chibi style, it begins to look just a little bit weird. So the chibi style of drawing is something called abstraction. And it's where you take shapes and you simplify them. And it's actually pretty difficult to do chibi style and do it well, because you have to know how the original shape went before you can draw the abstracted shape. So that's a good start. His horn's going to be out like this. His ears are going to kind of be down. Whoosh. His mane's going to be out like this. His tail's going to be out like this. And I know I said we were going to stretch him out, but I don't really like him that stretched out. So the nice thing about digital is when I don't like something, I can cut it apart and put it back together again. There we go. Now he's not quite so stretched out. So in the pose that I picked for him running, there's only one foot on the ground. And then this back foot is almost on the ground. So that is pretty close. Give it a little bit more of a nubby right there. Okay. Don't be afraid to draw through things that you've already drawn. That helps you position them. It's called drawing through the figure. If you take art into high school, maybe college, you'll hear quite a bit of that. Learn to draw through the figure, because that helps you line things up. All right. Here, let's see what we can do about. Okay. Tummy goes that way. Back leg goes like that. Lower leg goes like this. I don't like that. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's try and get his head in. Makes him look like a giraffe there. See if we can get a little bit. No. Sometimes I don't get quite the line that I want. There we go. Not quite that much. Oops, almost forgot his neck. His chest. Go. There we go. Now our little unicorn is running. Turn off our sketch layer. All right. So if this was going to be a character, oops, wrong thing, for a book that I was doing, or maybe a cartoon, I would continue to draw different poses so that when I got to that, I would know what it looked like in every scenario. All right. I would even do something called a turnaround, and a turnaround is where you figure out how to turn the thing that you're drawing in space. So let's see if I can do, I didn't practice this. And it's been a while since I've done a turnaround. So we'll see if we can do a turnaround. The fun thing about drawing for everybody is in person is that you kind of get to see when I make mistakes. It's proof that everybody makes mistakes. All right, so we're gonna do a turnaround of a head because I'm not sure I can do a complete body turnaround at the moment. I'm gonna draw some lines. Draw some guidelines. So start with a profile of a horse's head, just because that is the easiest side of a horse to draw. Got some ears. Might be a little long. Let's make those a little smaller. It's not quite a mule. There we go. That ear does not work. There we go. Like I talked about last week, sometimes it's helpful to know how the skeleton works, what the skeleton looks like. So horse's skeleton, head skeleton kind of looks like that. They're actually rather terrifying when you look at a horse skeleton. They're sort of scary. It goes out like that. The ears are too far back. Let's try this again. This is where usually I would go ahead and get a reference so that I knew where the ears lined up in relation to the head and the eye socket. All right, so that's terrifying. Let's try something a little happier. Nose is right there. Okay. So now that I've got a basic sketch, I can go through and get the rest of my guidelines. I'm going to use these lines and I'm going to line up various parts of the body so that my spacing is even. Okay. So now I've got a profile view. I would want to do a front view. Nose goes right here. The ears. Here. The eyes right here. The horn is right here. Its neck is right here. And then 3/4 view. 3/4 views are always the most difficult because they always involve amount of foreshortening. And foreshortening means that you're trying to make something three-dimensional using perspective. And I can tell you right now, this one is not going to look great. But we have the horn right there. Ears. So top of the head's right here. So that is not the best in the world because I've already, the eyes go right there. The eye goes right there. Nose goes right there. Okay, so that's not the best in the world, but that is one a turnaround. So if you're interested in animation, I recommend looking for turnarounds on the internet. Of course, check with your adults first to make sure that you have permission to do that. But turnarounds are a great way of figuring out how to draw things from all angles. So. All right, next week we're gonna do a little more drawing. So stick with me and we'll have some fun. See you later.